Old School from WhatTheBuck.net coming to you from Valrico, Florida. It's 10 o'clock Eastern. The four-letter network ESPN is reporting that Raheem Morris will be named the Buccaneers head coach. He's going to be hired as the head coach. Our former defensive backs coach, recently promoted to defensive coordinator, then sort of media darling as he went out and interviewed with a number of teams for head coaching opportunities. It appears as though the youth movement will be served if the Buccaneers do follow through and do what ESPN projects, that is hiring Raheem Morris as our new head coach. Additionally, Dominik, former director of player personnel, will be promoted to general manager. Now, again, this is all speculation at this point. There hasn't been an announcement that I'm aware of. A number of people felt like this may be the move given the fact that the press conference did not go off at 7 o'clock. It didn't appear as though there was a big name that was waiting in the wings, Shanahan or Cowher or Parcells or any of those names. Now, this does leave in question what's going to happen with the defensive side of the ball. Joe Barry, everyone thought he was going to go to Seattle, and then all of a sudden, sort of at the last minute, he made a big swoop back over and came back to Tampa, though it did appear Joe Barry would have worked for damn near anybody, given his positive comments for every team that seemed to show any interest in him whatsoever. This could set an opportunity up for him to move to defensive coordinator, which people can be happy or sad about. He didn't do particularly well in Detroit, but then again, neither did Rod Marinelli, who's a hell of a coach. That team was far more dysfunctional than the coaching staff, certainly. So, if this is true, and there is no big name on the back end of this sudden dismissal of John Gruden and Bruce Allen, this will be a youth move. This will be a rebuilding move. This will be interesting times for Bucs fans. I actually like Raheem Morris a lot. I've liked him since when he was here originally. I liked him a lot when he came back. I've sort of been an open fan of Raheem Morris. I don't know that necessarily he's ready for this step, but at the same time, if you're going to rebuild, this is a chance to keep a young up-and-comer and see if he can actually cut it at this next level. He's obviously got a lot of allegiance from the defensive side of the ball. The interesting piece to me will be what happens on the offensive side of the ball. The offensive staff, hopefully this will be the end of Bill Muir, and we'll see some new blood on the offensive side of the ball from a coaching perspective. And then this is really going to make the draft interesting and free agency interesting. The Bucs have $46 million under the cap, plenty of money to make moves for free agents. This is an opportunity to be a very player-friendly organization given the staff that they have assembled. Not to say that John Gruden wasn't player-friendly, but certainly the word on the street and the general perception is that he was not. There were a number of players who did not like him very much at all. In fact, many of them came out of the woodwork. Mike Clayton on 1040 ESPN, the AM radio station down here, was quoted and was on the show essentially saying he was very happy with this dismissal and Gruden misused his abilities and pretty much whining like a little girl. I was a big fan of Mike Clayton's, even though he had horrible years, many drops, was inconsistent. I thought he had a lot of talent. I thought he did a good job and was on the upswing. Right now, pack it up, get out of here. I think he's really done himself a disservice by being a complete punk. And anyone who signs him is in for that because you don't come out and talk trash. Now, even if you believe it, you do what Derek Brooks did on 620, and you pay respect to the guy that helped bring a Super Bowl to Tampa, and you move forward. A number of other players have come out, shocked, Jeff Fain, B.J. Askew, amongst others. It is what it is. It's a business, folks, and just like the players are replaceable, so are the coaches. I feel very much like I felt when Tony Dungy was let go. I wasn't happy with that move when it was made. Obviously, it ended up being good for the Buccaneers and the franchise in general. But at the time when Dungy was let go, I thought, okay, well, if I had anyone that I could pull in here, who would I go after? And my thought was Gruden, but I didn't think we could get him. The Glazers went out and got him, and history was sort of written at that point. When I look at who is available now, I don't want Shanahan. I think he is essentially the same as Gruden, more or less, but not quite as energetic or charismatic. I don't think he has the skills necessary, or the skills that Gruden had. I don't think it would have been a trade-up, let's put it that way. Bill Cowher would be interesting, but it would be a redesign of the defense as well. He's probably the only one I'd be interested in. He's probably the one least interested in doing it. There was a lot of talk about Tony Dungy, which was complete crap. There's no way that Dungy would come back to the team that fired him, in my opinion, when he walked away from a team that loved him. Certainly the Tampa area loves Dungy, and there's a lot of respect for Coach Dungy, but I don't think there's any way in hell he would have come back, and he's come out and said that. Shanahan came out and said no one's contacted him. So Cowher essentially said he wasn't interested. This looks like an inside job, and in some ways that's a good thing. You promote from within. We've done that before, and hopefully this will work out well. We're Bucs fans first, and if this is the way the team goes, then by God, we'll get behind him. Raheem is a hell of a coach, folks. If you hadn't had a chance to see him work with the players, get out to the training camp. I assume it'll still be at Disney Wide World of Sports, and get a chance to see how he actually interacts with these guys. He's a hell of a teacher. He knows the game. The real telling point will be what does he do to put the staff together. Offensive coordinator is going to be a big piece. There's been some rumors about Mike Martz on some of the boards. That would be interesting. Mike hasn't done particularly well since his Ram heydays, but We got to do something to get someone in here to get the offense working. Now all of the eyes will be towards the draft, what we're going to do in free agency, and what we can do to rebuild this coaching staff and essentially rebuild the image of a team that was on the brink of doing something really well, and then essentially pulled the trigger on it and said, you know what, we're blowing this thing up and we're starting all over. This is exactly what the media down here wanted. They wanted everything changed, and by God, that's what they got. So will be very interesting to see what free agents actually get re-signed in this organization and how much and how deep the cuts go. Thanks for listening to this broadcast. If you want to catch up with the show, we broadcast Thursday nights at www.whatthebuck.net. Thanks again.